And finally, we're back. Welcome everyone to Midway Radio. No,
Wow.
just kidding.
Get out of here. You're fired.
Man,
Welcome to the Schizo Podcast. I'm Carlos Gomez, and let's welcome back Charlie B. Williams III.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm here. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. It's a new year.
Excellent.
New glasses. Feel good.
Nice.
Oh yeah, you got the other
So
side.
you got both arms.
Bam. Yes, I do.
That's right. Oh, hey, Jack Kasperzak.
Yes, I am also here. New glasses.
Nice.
They're Invisaligns.
Yeah, they look wonderful. They're like they're not even there.
So if you're watching live, you can go ahead and chat with us in the chat panel there. Otherwise, you can. That's right. Get your own hotline. 408-753-8248. 011-408-753-8248 for all you international folks out there. Oh, like Noel. You're going to finally put Carlos in an old folks home. That would be awesome. LMAFAO. Nice. Oh, boy.
Noel's consistent.
Hey, Shiloh's here. See?
Hello.
Shiloh would have to use 011-408-753-8248. Looking forward to what you guys have planned. Did we spill the beans a little bit?
I just said we got news.
Okay, cool.
That's all I said.
All good.
Because it's 2019, y'all.
Pop, pop, pop. Hey, you know what we are going to do?
So I do the pop.
No, we are going to go over to the canvas.
Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
That's right, folks. So last week we came up with nice and simple gluing.
Yeah.
Hello, Noel. That's all you get. Gluing. Maestro, please. Dude,
it's good.
Magic every time. Dude, magic every time.
Mm-hmm.
Glue. And you know what's funny is someone actually heard it. Someone said it's
yo,
funny.
They
wings are usually glued on an aircraft, not bolted.
It's great. It's always one in the crowd. Well, actually,
you know,
love it.
That reminds me of there was a buddy of mine from school, Steve. He's a super technical guy. So when he was in doing 3D, like when I was in school, everyone was doing tractors, right? So I was like, engine part 1, engine part 2, engine part 2 left and right, and all this stuff, right? So it was just everything was named absolutely randomly. Steve would legit be like, carburetor number 4 misfiring. Like, what, boy? If you don't catch a hobby,
it's left wheel socket.
Yeah, you know, you got animation regular do that too.
Yeah.
You got the control that's like tibia 5, and I'm like, man, I'm just trying to slap the finger. Come on.
I'm trying to not name things bad words.
he's like, Jack, watch how this moves. This is great. Watch.
Exactly pretty much
the same. It's the same rotation as it really is.
All right. Yeah. Great work, Shiloh, by the way. Complete tangent, but I love this.
Yeah, it's really good.
The glue crew.
Dude in the window.
He's like, are you even going to wait for it to dry?
Where is my compass?
I think the best part about it is the dude doesn't even care. He's just like, I've done 150.
And it's cool that he's wearing like the soundproofer headphones, but they also kind of double as like zoning out to music.
Yeah.
The DJ Hoodat.
Exactly. DJ Hoodat.
With his John Deere hat on the backwards.
Is that what that is?
No, I'm just being funny.
It looks like a Jeff Koons hat. He's got the air balloon dog thing on there.
Oh, that's right, huh?
I guess it could be like a Honda.
All right, here we go. That's mine. That's my buddy. That's my buddy Vinny. He runs the local shoe shop here. He is an amazing human.
Fixing souls, one soul at a time.
This is actually I've been refining the character, and I think I really like this one. But we were talking one day, and this is actually gonna be a really good lead into the things that we're gonna be talking about later. But like he wanted to work on a comic strip, and so we kind of have it already started, but I need to go back and do it right. But we're working on a comic called Saving Souls, and souls like SOLE, and he's got all kinds of stories from his little shoe shop, and so he has hilarious stories, and so I'm going to illustrate them.
Little shoe shop of horrors.
Yep. Saving Souls. Moving on. I really like this one too.
Iggy.
Yeah. Iggy be crushing these.
Tag him. What's up with that?
Yeah, I like this one. The colors are cool.
Yeah. Iggy be killing these things, but what?
He could be going in.
Let's see who else chimed in. We got Joey Wall.
I really want to see this animated in that scratchy style.
And I want him to blink, and then like at the end, just stare up at us at the camera. Like he looks up and realizes we're watching him.
Hey, Landon, welcome.
Can you imagine?
What is he repairing? Oh, he's making little like figures.
He's creating life, Jack, through glue.
Probably.
This is God. This is a portrait of God.
Yeah. He's done with Adam. Adam is down here
creepy
taking
AF.
Yeah.
I'm watching you, my child.
Hey, have you guys heard that NASA's been hearing repeated noises, like radio signals from 100 and what was it, 150 light years away?
Yeah, I don't know the distance, but
what is it? They can't make it out. It's just
they don't know, but it's repeating, which makes them think that it's not just a natural happening.
Yeah,
it's like one of those things where it's like repeated, but not in like a natural repetition.
Yeah.
Yo, are we on the other side of the movies where it's like?
It seems like it.
It's a warning, and
that's nice. A really good conversation for like right after this. Because hey, Landon, I really like this, Landon. Boy,
it kind of works for both last week's and glue. Kind of looks like he's made of glue or eating glue.
Smiling.
It's really creepy.
I just realized I focused a lot on the lumps in it.
That is nasty.
Oh yeah.
I like how there's a fork and knife they're ready to use, but
he was like skip it,
and then dude eats it backwards.
Well, you know,
I think Mr. Man does eat his pizza backwards. I think that's one of the reasons why a bunch of New Yorkers don't like him. And I'm not trying to be funny. Like I think that's
I do remember he made a video about that or something. He was eating it backward. There's like photos of him. He does crust first.
Yeah. Oh, he does? Weird.
Hey, so chat room, start letting us know which categories you want. But yeah, good work, Landon. Is that it? Yeah, so. That's it. That's a pretty good turnout. Good job, guys. I was trying not to bring attention to the fact that we're light at least one.
Okay.
Oh wow!
Dang!
Wow!
Called out like that. Okay.
Man.
I didn't say anything.
I mean,
we could.
Yeah, okay.
Did that hurt more, Jack? Because I don't think you saw it coming either. Like,
no.
Yeah, try to clean it up now. Yeah, we're PR lady for 1 second.
The
PR lady's trying to run back to the studio. Like, no, don't say that.
I don't know what to do. All right, chat room. Come on. What do you guys think? We got adjective, animal, character, action, style, location. How about you guys? You guys have anything that you
not style? I think
I would like to do.
I need to update the list that style contains. It's only got about 20, and I think we've used them all.
I'd like to do another one-word one, maybe.
Yeah, we can do one word, but let's maybe try.
How about a character?
Yeah, character is always fun.
All right, character.
A cult leader.
Cult leader. This is good. Hang on.
There you go.
We could either just go with that or lock it off and add something because the cult leader is really good.
No, I want to keep it at one.
Just cult leader.
Cult leader. I want to know how many different types.
I know what to do. I know what I'm drawing. I'm doing the satanic broccoli.
Nice.
You know what?
With the pentagram like ready to go.
I like it. All right, so cult leader.
I want him shaking.
That's so good.
Well, okay, that was easy. We got the cult leader.
Let's go to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day's a good day when you paint.
So that was nice and fun. Cult leader.
Should be good.
Okay, so actually no, before we get to all that, I want Charlie to tell his story of what just happened.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool.
This happened yesterday evening on the train. I took the late train back. We have
Took a late train.
the metro train. And so there's, if you ever do any kind of commuting on the way into work, for those of you who do that, I take the train in every day to the city of Chicago. And the cool thing that happened is you start to see people where you can kind of give a nod and say hello. Maybe you have a couple conversations in the summertime or in the winter if you sit next to them. So this gentleman that I sat next to.
But not in the fall time.
Yeah, people are not really talking in the fall. Shut up, Carlos. Anyway, there's a gentleman that I kind of knew of just by going on a train and stuff like that. We used to get off at the same stop. I moved. I'm one stop in front of him. He's cool. He's a lawyer, right? He's a lawyer. Yeah. So he's cool, but I always notice him drawing because obviously you're gonna notice artists, you're gonna notice other artists. And I think one of the days I struck up a conversation because we wasn't in the quiet car. We were able to talk freely, and we have interesting conversation. He tells me about his day-to-day stuff and in general and like his life, and then we talked. So we reconnected yesterday because we were both on the same late train, and we were talking about art, talking about the Comic-Con convention is coming up, and I casually think I told him for the first time that I have a podcast. So I told him I had a podcast. He was like, "Oh, what's your podcast name?" And I told him Sketch Zone. He instantly was like, "I know what that is." He's like, "Wait, wow, that's your podcast?" I was like, and first of all, you don't know my podcast. Thank you for being
know my podcast,
but you don't know it. You've never heard it at all. It was kind of straightforward, so sorry about that in general, Chris. But no, I was like, you don't know what it is, but cool, yeah, I'm glad. That's nice. And he was like, "No, I've heard of Sketch Zone before," because he listens to all these different types of podcasts, and he's into art and stuff like that. So anybody that listens to a lot of different podcasts, you have like your running set of podcasts that you kind of rotate through. We all do. I do. I'm sure some of you guys also do while you're working and stuff like that. So he pulls out his phone, and it takes no less than 5 seconds, and he goes to his podcast list, and he's like, "Look, is this you guys?" And there's the big yellow pencil. I was like, and I was like stunned at first. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that is ours." He's like, and then I was like, "Wait a minute, you didn't put two and two together when you talked? You didn't hear my voice?" He was like, "Nah." Like, okay, cool. I was like, "Cool." I was like, "So have you watched the live show or the YouTube one, or we doing?" He's like, "No, I don't know any of those things, but I found you guys through iTunes." And nice. So I've only ever listened to you guys and stuff like that. So I was like, "Oh, well, that's pretty cool." So shout out to Chris Kim.
Yeah.
I hope you're listening, and thanks for listening to the show. Yeah.
What's up, Chris?
Yes.
Good looking out, son. Yeah, son.
Crazy. random person on the train actually knows about the podcast.
Thanks, Chris.
Yes, that's cool.
Yeah, listen up, Chris. I'm about to listen up, Chris.
He messes it up. Yeah, there we go.
So,
yeah.
Taking it too far.
And it's supposed to be warm it up, Chris.
Yeah.
I know, but I don't know Chris, so I'm not asking him to warm up a damn thing.
What they were talking about?
Well, okay.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, shout out to Chris. Yeah.
Shout out to Chris. Yeah, buddy. Okay, so now that was a fun story, and I'm glad that that we are definitely making an impact in at least one person's life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what brings us to some of our new announcements. So we love that you guys are a part of the family, and that this is fun. This is fun for all of us. Every time we talk about the show and how fun it is, and it's great to get together every week and catch up, and it helps professionally too. And so we want to bring a little more value to what we do. So what we decided to do is not just sit here and talk and share news and stuff. Some of the pitch sentences, I guess, when I go to talk to people about the show is, imagine being back when, if you were in art school or work or whatever, you're in the room full of a bunch of creative people, and everyone is talking and sharing and doing, and there's always something to focus on, something to work on. So we're going to switch up just a little bit. We're each going to have a project that we're bringing into the discussion. And we're going to be working and talking at the same time. So whether it's a contract project, a self-inflicted project, yeah,
painful.
And even like Jack and I have been trying to find time to finish up the process projects project. So imagine if process projects and Sketch Zone had a baby, it would be what we're about to embark on now. And we're going to try to come up with a bunch of different projects just so you guys can see how things are done, some of the process, and then not just that, but actually bounce ideas off of each other. And we have the live chat room also that they can chime in on things too. But we thought that, hey, Long Arm, we thought that it would be cool and beneficial for you guys as well, for us to be working on something, describe what we're doing. And then all the while we're still talking, we'll be still talking to professionals that we can have come on the show. We can, we're going to share links. We're going to share secrets. We're going to share, videos that we've seen. Is there anything you guys want to add?
No, I think you did good. Yeah. It's just giving a peek into like more process while having conversations about the same things we've always been talking about. And
yeah, I think you covered it pretty well. But like Carlos said, just to echo, we were sort of reevaluating we're going into our 5th year of Sketch Zone, which is a long time. And we look back at how many episodes we had and how many people we've talked to. And we're trying to figure out ways of keeping it fresh and keeping it moving forward. Mm-hmm. And like Carlos said, looking back to kind of our quote unquote unofficial mission statement that, we wanted to feel a little bit like you're in school in the work lab talking with friends, or that, mainly to bring context to a lot of the things we talk about, because, as much fun as it is to sit here and interview people and just talk, as you all know, watching tutorials, especially in this day and age on YouTube and the internet and all the stuff that we can share, is totally invaluable. And so to sit here and talk about something while it's actually happening, we think will not just be beneficial to the listeners, but beneficial to ourselves. And we can kind of combine some of the things we have been doing, like having guests on, but having them specifically on in directly how they relate to what we're doing or showing. So say Carlos is going to do a comic strip, and then we invite on a professional comic artist or someone at least who has done tons of them in their life to come on and chat about process and maybe things he's doing wrong or things that he could do better, or, this is what I do in this situation. And so that it talk shop, but while actually in the shop rather than shop.
Because interesting conversations come based off of those conversations. I mean, I've talked about in the past with, the service that we're using, we use Google Hangout here. And the whole reason for that whole service is that when it first came out, it brought a lot of artists together in the artist community, because people would come on. You can fit a lot of people in this Hangout. I think we've had a lot of people in here at once. And that whole scenario of all talking shop and sharing information and you finding out about new tools and stuff like that and then trying them out. All those things bring a lot of information to the forefront. And what better way than to talk about it while doing and have those emerging conversations happen.
You see what Noel said on the chat.
It might be a long show if you talk about what Carlos is doing wrong.
Nice. Consistency is the key.
I hate that she's so funny.
Anyway, so the long and the short of it is the premise is that we're going to each work on something. It might change from show to show. There might be some small one show long projects that one of us might work on, or there might be ones that last a month or 2 or 3. So yeah,
enjoy.
So,
and if there's anything, I think looking back, one of the things I realized, and I've actually done a couple of interviews on other podcasts in this past year, and one of the things I did learn is, hey, I'm like a fairly interesting person, and people like to sometimes hear what I have to say. So, I realized I actually have a lot of knowledge about what I do, and I know Charlie has loads of stuff to talk about what he does, and Carlos is doing everything wrong. So it might be cool for us to each focus on something that we actually want to do, and then kind of see where the intersections are. Because I think that's what it's actually going to be the most interesting about this. While we're all simultaneously working on our own thing, say maybe I'm doing a storyboard or a children's book, Carlos is doing a comic strip, and Charlie's doing some game models. Those all sound fairly different, but I think it'll be really cool and interesting to see how much we can actually learn from each other's skill set and port over to our own, and then also see all the intersections, because I think there's a lot. As we've learned from all the people we've interviewed over the years, a lot of the stories kind of mirror each other, and there's kind of these patterns to the way artists think and work, and we just want to see it in action.
And yeah, I agree with Noel for maybe once. She says Carlos talks a lot. Yeah.
This is really our way of plotting a coup to kick out Carlos.
Just shut him up. I was going to work on something, but now that I see Noel, this has been a long time in the making. This is what I'm going to work on today.
Wait, what?
Oh boy.
Yeah. No. It's hang on. And hopefully she's so here's my little sticky note.
Oh no.
It's for her little girl, and it's anything magical and pink, unicorn, mermaid, cats, dogs, Disney. So that's what I'm drawing today.
Sorry, read it again one more time.
It says anything magical and pink.
Okay. Magical and pink.
A unicorn, mermaid, cats, dogs, Disney.
Can you combine all those?
Is that one animal?
I hope not.
Well, this is where you gotta
Sounds like it's gonna hurt.
Solve that creative problem.
Yeah, I was actually going to work on something completely different, and I'm not going to, because I've been wanting to do this, and so now I'm going to.
Nice.
What are you guys going to work on?
So I want to chat with the chat room a little bit because I have an idea for a more long-term project that I'd like to hit up. Today I actually got the okay from a freelance gig that I have done work for in the past. They are totally cool with me doing stuff live and showing it off. So I'm going to do an actual active paid gig. It should only do just this one show, but I'm out for the next 2 weeks. I have a wedding to go to, and then I'll be traveling to Korea for work the following week. So when I get back, I want to set up something a little more long-term, and I have some ideas that I'd like to query the chat room for. What about you, Charlie?
So I had a couple things I could do. I've been doing my ongoing things here in my home, which is
Charlie's like, I'm gonna change an alternator.
I'm gonna clean my room.
So some projects I had here at home is I've been doing a lot of compositing work at work, and I did that from starting doing stuff at home, right? Taking classes and doing some stuff. So I was gonna do some test work there, but I also want to do I have a vault on my Pinterest page of stuff that I like to do for projects that I actively update. So there's some modeling stuff based off concepts I might do. And I might jump around and do that too. All of this will lead toward then creating some type of scene or something like that, and then being able to go through the whole process. We learned Redshift this past year, so renting out a full scene, doing the EXR process to get the final completed look after color correction and all that good stuff. So you go modeling, and then you go texturing with something like Substance or Mari or something like that, and then scene construction, and then rendering all that stuff out, putting it into a compositor, color correcting, final image. And rinse and repeat each time. So something like that.
I like it.
Right now, the Twitch stream is probably mad at me because XSplit actually crashed on us. But we'll get it back up.
Yeah. So, Carlos, you're doing a character or a drawing, huh?
Yeah, I need to, and apparently it has to be named Birthday Magic.
It has to be named what?
Birthday Magic?
You saved crafts on Pinterest that I've pinned for
6 years. That's
holy
that's take you a long time.
That Pinterest board got to be super loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that means, Noel, we're expecting to see at least 1 or 2 of those crafts done by the end of the night.
Yes, live feed. I want to see him. Oh no, Carlos, it's being nice to me because it's Birthday Magic.
Oh, is that what it is?
But you can call this animal Birthday Magic. I think you should. That's a good name.
Sorry for all that. I just ordered a new mic stand because this Gorilla Pod is not really a Gorilla Pod. It's like a ghetto version of it. So it's probably more like an anteater pod. But yeah, this mic is way too heavy for this, and so I'm trying to get it to the point where it's not being a jerk and it just refuses to listen. Look at
oh, wow, just sounds like refusing.
Okay. All right, so you just stay like that then. It's a good thing that Amazon has free 2-day delivery. All right. I'm about to get going.
We're gonna have to find some like royalty-free music up in here because
yeah.
We're gonna be working for some of this.
I wonder if I can fit. A cult leader would be magical, huh? Probably.
Yeah, riding a unicorn, and wearing pink. He's so charismatic.
Did you guys? Well, I know that you did, but so interesting bit of news that came out yesterday. Looks like John Lasseter's back in the game.
Oh yeah,
He is indeed.
Where's he at again?
iDance Studios, which
is
is mostly like a visual effects company. They did that one animated thing with the aliens. What's it called? Planet 51. Where like,
oh yeah,
the astronaut lands on the alien planet and they think he's an alien.
Everybody's freaking out. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Maybe they're gonna,
maybe they're gonna
riddle this controversy. Of course. What?
He's like, maybe they're gonna. I don't know. Yeah. He didn't mean to do that, but I'm like, they're gonna. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's
hilarious.
They got an ironclad hiring contract with that dude, so that they can't be held responsible.
I wonder how much that costs.
And they said there's something said he's being paid a healthy seven-figure salary.
You got to.
So, he's back, I guess.
I'm back.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not happy about it.
Yeah.
They're gonna get him some like super thick mittens.
Stop it.
How about a bubble? So he's like a bubble boy. Yeah, it's a tricky, it's a sensitive topic there for a lot of people, and it's sure making the headlines.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not condoning his behavior at all, not one bit. But like, what is he just supposed to not do what he's been doing all his life ever again?
Right, for sure. Yep. Or what's the time limit?
Landon, did Weinstein have a solid contract too?
I think they're saying it's a ban. It's a lifetime ban.
A lifetime ban.
Yeah. I think they won't be happy unless it's a lifetime ban.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question because, when you're in a profession that has such so many public eyes on it.
Yeah.
It's a little different than someone getting fired from Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
So it's
yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's a little different. Obviously, it's a little different, but I'm trying to find
the word.
Fine, here. Let's pick something else that maybe has a lot of training behind it and you're fairly specialized, but it doesn't have the same notoriety and eyeballs behind it, right? So like say like a dentist, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to a lot of schooling and it's not like you're just gonna like turn around and become a banker. Like you invested 8-10 years of your life in dentistry school and you've been blah 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 and now you're a dentist, right? But you do some inappropriate stuff, you fall out of the graces, and then so what are you supposed to do for a living?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little, it becomes more apparent when you start analyzing it from that point of view, like a dentist. Like, what is that dude gonna go do? He's just gonna like go get involved in like toothbrush sales or something. That like, I mean, what? It's kind of weird, right? But in this situation where it's somebody super high profile, it's the same thing, but it's because he's so high profile that it's like everybody knows about what he's done and like nobody wants to come near it and all that stuff. And it's like, so I guess he could go get just some rando ass job at like consulting at some
like behind
the scenes consulting or something. I mean, there's obviously plenty of ways he could make money.
Right.
But I guess the argument is has he sacrificed his role as a high profile like executive at a studio? Like, should he no longer be allowed to be in those types of roles? I think perhaps is more what the argument is.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It makes sense. I can see why. I don't like it, but it makes sense. I can see why. It's a hard sell, but obviously not too hard. What's it for the new studio he's at? So it's like they're just like,
what is it like? You got a job at like, what's it called? Like, not Starscream.
Skydance. So I mean, yeah. I mean, also let's look at this realistically. I mean, who's really heard of Skydance that's not in the industry? Or I mean, even half of the people in the industry, how many people have heard of it? Like, they're not exactly like an A-list company that everybody knows what they're up to.
Yeah, maybe.
So you could argue that it's a major step down for him, and that it's
it's going from the NBA to
and certain whatever. I mean, obviously he's getting paid well. He's got a 7-figure salary.
Yeah.
And it said something about stock options and other benefits. And who knows what other investments and options he still has elsewhere. But yeah, I mean, I guess in some sense you could argue that it is a huge step down. I mean, he's not head of Disney and Pixar anymore. So I don't know. I mean, it's a complicated thing, especially since I don't know. Does anybody know if are there actual criminal or even civil charges against him?
No.
I mean, obviously most of this is rumors and complaints and supposed emails and documents from Disney and Pixar. But has anyone actually filed a suit against him?
I don't think so.
Right.
Interesting. I haven't heard anything to that point. I haven't read anything. None of that stuff. So I don't think so.
Right.
Because if he had, I don't care who you are. You don't really. You're not going to hire someone who is about to go to court for, let's just say sexual misconduct. What am I trying to say? If you're running a studio, you don't really want the trouble that comes with hiring someone who's just about to get in trouble with the law, I think is a clear way to say it. Whatever the charges may be.
Right.
But at the same time, we have a sexual deviant who got voted into office. So it's such a weird world these days. It's so strange.
Right.
And I mean, I read I think it was the Cartoon Brew article that talked about, yet another, powerful person getting their way just because they're going to make money or whatever the case may be. And yeah, like I get that stance. It's just so weird. Like, the world just doesn't make sense anymore to me.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit in the past. I mean, I think that's the core point of this. It's their company, their business. They've got a legal team. They've got funds to manage, and presumably investors and or shareholders to please. They don't make these types of decisions lightly, and they've clearly calculated risk versus potential benefit.
Right.
And they've made the calculation that this guy's probably going to make us a ton of money and probably win us awards. I mean, aside from his HR record. He has an otherwise astounding business and awards and money record. So, businesses look at it from that point of view, and they're willing. The truth of the matter is they're willing to overlook criminal activity, if they can somehow be protected from it, or they can benefit from it in the long. I mean, there's been cases like, with like the car companies and stuff, and it's like they will actually do straight out like calculated risk analytics and say, okay, we know we're going to get sued this many times, by this much money for this problem, but it would cost us this much money to repair it. So screw it. We're going to deal with the lawsuits. Like those are actual calculations and things that happen. So at the end of the day, these are companies. Sure. They're there to make money. And as much as the society, when the lynch mob and the Twitter feeds want to yell and scream and shout, if it's beneficial to them in the long run, it doesn't really matter how much you yell and scream.
Right. Unfortunately.
Yeah. And at the same time, like I was talking to another buddy, they were letting me know, like Amazon, was it Amazon? When just in general with these companies, they calculate these type of risks and stuff like that. At one point they were saying Amazon has more lawyers than employees at one point in certain aspects of the company, just because they have so many different, like, was it the lawyers for all the like the tax stuff and all the other different things now. That like companies definitely do take on the risk. They just prepare for it at times, and obviously this gets in a weird way, gets everybody talking about Skydance Animation.
And look at that. Like, he's probably not even put in a full day's work, and he, like, everyone is already talking about Skydance. And I did my research. I did my research to see who the hell they were and blah 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 blah. Yeah. So I mean, if you're looking at it through Skydance's point of view, it makes sense because people are already talking about you. And I don't know if this is gonna, I don't know how I'm trying to say this, so I'm trying to be careful so I don't come off as a jerk, but
too late.
Yeah, right. Okay, so besides the fact that everyone has a right to earn a living, it's just for the people that want his head on a platter, it sucks for you because he's really good at what he does. Mm-hmm. And again, I hesitate to comment on his behavior because I wasn't there. I don't know anyone who's done any of this stuff, but like there's, like Jack had mentioned, like, or had asked, I don't think that anyone has tried to take him to court for inappropriate behavior.
No, I think it's has anything
happened?
Just coming out and it was bad PR,
Yeah,
because it's still coming from the HR.
Did anything happen with these guys, or like a repeated behavior? From the stories that we hear, apparently there is. But again, there was also women that were like, no, he doesn't do that. So it's a really tricky situation that I don't know. Like, I always go back to, there's been times where a guy has been falsely accused of inappropriate behavior, only to find out that it's an ex-girlfriend that was upset with him, and people still wanted his job. And I think that's such a, such a dirty move to make. And again, I'm not trying to be an apologist for anyone. I see so many different things and so many different people trying to get whatever it is that they want out of life. And a lot of people are taking the easy way out, whether it's, falsely accusing someone just to get the limelight, or, down to, what's his face? Weinstein, who was using his power to get what he wanted instead of actually, there's a lot of people that are saying that he was abusing his power to get these women because he was ugly and no one really wanted to sleep with him. I don't know the guy. I don't really, whatever. But if that's the case, the hard way would have been take your ugly ass to the gym, work out, and get to the point where you can score the women that you're looking for. That's the hard way. You have to put in the work. There's people who abuse their power all the time. But it's the people who also abuse the victim. Number one, you're doing harm for, number one, not only the person that you're accusing, but two, the people that are actually truly the victim, who really do get mistreated. And the more that time goes by, the more you realize that people are just shitty. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just like they're saying in the chat, yeah, he could get comfortable and do it again. But yeah. I feel like there's probably going to be something in that contract. I feel like there has to be.
Yeah,
I don't probably put something in there that be like, well, you got to give us everything back.
Yeah, I don't think that the company itself is it's going to have to worry about too much.
I don't think so, but yeah.
And quite honestly, like I don't think, and I could be completely wrong. And I hope I'm not. I really do hope I'm wrong, or I'm not wrong. But I think dude is going to be super careful with what he's doing,
mm-hmm.
and how he's interacting with the people that he works with. Because there's a lot of things that you can do that you don't know that you're doing. You know what I mean? So, for example, I come from a Latino background, and we give hugs and kisses to literally everyone when you walk in the door. Literally everyone. But then if you step out of that culturally accepted thing, like, you don't know who you're going to offend, and all you're doing is doing what you've been doing your whole entire life. And so, yeah, for me, it's awkward walking into a room. And I'm not saying I don't, like, when you're at work, you don't walk in and give hugs and kisses to everyone that you work with. I've worked at those places, but I'm not saying that, oh, my excuse is I'm Puerto Rican, so I get to hug and kiss everyone who I choose to. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, that'd be creepy.
But in a lot of these social gatherings, a lot of these people are getting in trouble for this stuff in a social gathering. So if I'm just being true to my cultural self, I could very easily get in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yes. I mean, I think there's but there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And let me clarify that by saying it is not in my culture to grope or to take
It's not my culture. It's great.
It's not in my culture to grope or to force women to do things or people to do things to my body that they don't want. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just it's a weird line, and with everyone having a voice, or not even, that's the wrong terminology, with everyone being able to call out the bullshit these days, I think it's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
But it gets it gets muddy when you have people who are opportunistic, you know, and it all boils down to, yet again, saying, look, if you are lying about things that have happened to you, you're ruining it for the people that it's actually happening to. And that's the heartbreak of these situations.
Yeah. I mean, that's for sure. But, you know, it sounds like there's a ton of accusations. So, you know, you have to wonder.
Yeah.
They can't all be lying.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't all be misunderstandings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Godspeed, dude. I hope it was all just a misunderstanding, and when dude shows up, he just, like, he does his thing and keeps.
What is his official title?
He is the, what did they say? I forgot what it was. However, we can find out relatively quickly.
Joey Wall says his title is the Pervinator.
Wow.
Yeah, it's tough because, I mean, when it comes down to just the fact that they're a business and they do what's best for business, and if they decide that the public risk and the legal risk is still worth anything he's going to bring to the table, or the awards or the money or whatever, it's like,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, you see the same thing in sports. You see the same thing in politics.
Real quick, he's the head of Skydance Animation. But yeah.
Okay. Like the main guy.
But yeah, like, and that's another thing. Like, with all these hot topics happening in the NFL, like, everyone's upset that this dude is taking a knee. Meanwhile, you have a bunch of wife beaters and violent players that continue to be picked up, continue to find jobs in the NFL. So silent protest is worse than beating your wife. Okay, cool. I see where we are.
That did not work.
Yeah, like Landon said, most of us deserve a second chance. I mean, I would say, yeah, keyword there is most. There's some that I don't think, but reading the accusations and the fact there's no legal accusation, I think he may be able to keep it in check until the Christmas party.
What was that?
He said, Joey said, he'll be able to keep it in check until the Christmas party. Oh my God, that's funny. So yeah, anyway. I hope it's a done deal. I wish him well. I really do. I met him a bunch of times. He's always been cool to me, but then again, I don't think I'm on his menu, but yeah, but like I said, he's always been super cool to me. He's always been nice, and he doesn't have to be. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, another
Ooh,
thing.
Charlie, what's that?
Which one? This one right here? The one I just picked?
Oh, that's from his almighty Pinterest.
Yeah, I'm looking through now. I'm gonna do some modeling stuff now. The one thing I have to do as we move forward is, well, based on, just so you guys know, you guys knew CES was this week, right?
Yeah.
Down there in Vegas. And
Vegas?
yeah, and NVIDIA announced a bunch of things, and this will directly help me right now because I have to find out the art of doing this with one screen and having the streaming thing up from Twitch at the same time. I run out of room here. But with that being said, NVIDIA announced that their G-Sync technology will be available to basically, in the long run, without getting super nerdy, more screens. So if you've ever been into buying a computer as an artist, right? You can either, if you're like NVIDIA, we've talked about this with Steve Tarkovsky on the show, or ATI, usually they have drivers that go with their graphics cards that power your screens. Well, usually if you're NVIDIA has been like the industry leader for ages with this thing, and their G-Sync technology allows refresh rates on screens, especially for gaming and stuff like that, to be a lot better. So there's been many times when I've been looking for a secondary screen and turned down deals because it just doesn't work with the graphics card that I have, And since they've announced this week that that technology is going to be more prevalent in other screens that wasn't there before, basically through a driver now, rather than saying that you have to get the screen from the manufacturer that we work with that has our technology in it. They'll put it in the form of a driver now, So that means you can use any screen. So I'm going to find a new screen. So because I'm sitting here juggling my Pinterest page as well as thinking I need to figure out how to have a full screen thing open and do this. But it's cool. But so as I'm looking through things, this is from my what is this from? It's from Concept Design, my robot reference ones, and looking for some things to model. So there's something catch your eye, Jack. That long story for that, but is Jack still there? Jack, he's gone. All right. So whatever he saw, we'll ask him in a bit. But yeah,
you don't hear me?
Oh, now we do. You're
no.
Were you
I was saying that. Yeah. That first one that kind of looks like little cameras or something.
Yeah, this one's cool, and I think it's just the way it was shot. I think this is actually a miniature. I don't think it's straight 3D by itself. It's actually like a toy or something. Yeah, and people actually go the whole route. It's like those Gundam toys that they paint up really nicely. Which, hats off to this guy, whoever did this, because it looks like it was originally like that. But if you look, they start out being gray. Some of this looks like a 3D model, but you sit there and paint it. You sit there meticulously paint the lines and all that stuff on there. I never got into model making like this. You would think I probably would be, but I never did.
Really cool.
But a side note for this, anybody who likes to do hard surface stuff, or just modeling in general, these type of things are really cool because there's a lot of little kit bashing things you can do and getting ideas from joints and how things work, even though it's a miniature. It doesn't have to be a concept art all the time. Sometimes it can be from a toy or something like that, or from and this was really good because it's just a bunch of little parts, it's really close up. That's really and you see how they shot it. So they shot it almost like they were doing reference for it, ARM, so if you're looking for some kind of sci-fi thing, you're looking for some cool Greeble stuff or something like that. They even do a breakout of parts here. It's really nice. So I found this a while ago and was like, this is good reference when I was looking for some Greeble stuff. So I'm gonna fire up some one of these modeling programs and grab some of this stuff now. You'd be happy to know, guys, that over the break I was doing a lot of stuff in Blender, looking up some stuff in Blender.
Oh, so okay.
Doing some tutorial stuff in there. The new hotkey map stuff, it feels good, There's still oh man, she used Blender right now.
It feels some Blender action.
It feels good though. Like I still don't have a program where I can start with a cube, delete everything except a vertex, and then just start extruding from the vertex. It's like very satisfying when modeling with that. But we've had them on the show before, Kent Trammell. They have a new tutorial out that I spent time and do. I still spend time and do them, watch them. It's a good hour or whatever, and where he's modeling a what is it? A shield, and he's like talking about the new Blender stuff, and it's funny because all artists have like their little quirks and stuff like that, and I love Kent to death, but I could tell he's like getting used to the new Blender, even as a professional instructor and guy who's worked in the industry. You could tell he's getting new to this stuff because he'll say a hotkey is somewhere else and it used to be here, and you can hear in his voice where he's like just getting used to it, but staying positive because it's like it's gonna be a new change for a lot of those guys who are used to doing Blender one way, But he did a excellent job on it. It was easy to follow. So if you're still looking for information and news about that stuff, check out CG Cookie. It's you do good stuff. So yeah, ooh, that's kind of cool. Funnel. It's like these little. Oh, it's like these little bombs or something. That's nice. Nice.
You guys happen to see what came out today?
What came out today?
It has to do with drones.
Oh yeah, I did. It's the new, like, you guys are out of the Stone Ages, just in time for me to buy one.
What's that?
You no longer have to use your phone for your drone.
Yeah.
And for a measly $630, you can have a drone controller with a really bright screen built in.
Yeah.
Now, for $400, when it's included into the bundle, you knock off some money. So standalone, you got a drone right now. And say you got the Air or the Mavic Pro or whatever, you can buy the new controller. That's basically, instead of using the phone technology anymore, they just basically made a screen with the controller. It's all nice and sleek. Probably got some good weight to it, And now you can sit there and look at that. I don't know. Do you know the resolution of the screen, Carlos?
Yeah, I actually looked it up earlier.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. I mean, I always thought like you have this really expensive DJI drone and we still connecting to our phone. Yeah, the controller still is kind of bootleg. Yeah. So I'm just happy that they're like finally upgraded.
Yeah,
it's expensive though.
It wasn't. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But okay, so let's see. I'm going to switch.
Let's see here. I can still do.
Okay, so we have, and it works for the Mavic 2, because everything over the Mavic is here. Let's see, everything over the Mavic. So the Phantom has its own remote, and then these guys, it's just bananas. But yeah, it works for the new Mavic 2s. And let's drop down. It's 5.5 inches, 1080p. Twice as bright as conventional smart device screens. So yeah,
it's kind of weird that this came after I mean, I guess
it took so long.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just because drones kind of came out right in the middle of like the smartphone age. It was totally natural, but like looking back at like the history of these types of devices, like it's weird that the standalone thing didn't come first.
Right. One of the cool things that you can do, it has built-in storage. So if you're flying your drone around, you can bring it home, pull out the memory card, drop it into your remote, and download the video or the pictures and videos, download the media onto the remote. And then you can even use the remote and send it over to your phone.
For what?
Huh?
Why would you send it over to your phone?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. Sometimes no, like when I had the what you call it, the Spark, you're able to automatically download things to your phone. One reason might be like if you take a really cool shot and you want to share it on Instagram or text it.
Yeah.
That would be one thing.
It's
Or
just have instant accessibility.
yeah. Or maybe both your remote and the drone itself are full of media, so you just want to pull it off real quick. But yeah, I was pretty excited about this because I agree with Charlie where the way that the remotes are now, it's a little clunky. And I would get to the point where I would just set the phone down on a table or on my lap, and I would leave the remote in my hands, and I would be doing the remote looking down on my lap to see where my be looking down at the phone and not necessarily having to look at where my hands were. And I actually downloaded the DJI Go app onto my my iPad Pro. So I was getting hella big footage. Or at least the preview is just immense. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. This whole drone thing, I'm all in on this, man. It's a lot of fun.
I like it. Just haven't pulled the trigger yet.
Yeah,
it's getting close with it. I like the compactness of it. I would love to use it while on the board and stuff. Yeah, gotta follow me. And then for like aerial photography too, aerial video, so I can put stuff into it too. What'd you say?
I just read Landon said, on a scale of 1 to Harvey, where's John? A 3 or 4?
Landon's really in on this on it, man. Landon's super offended.
And Noelle
triggered.
Noelle, just staying on topic, she goes, maybe with a controller, Carlos won't lose his.
Yeah, there it is. I was waiting.
I had a remote when I lost it. When I lost my original Spark, it just didn't help me because did I tell you guys I made that video about losing my drone and actually DJI? I think, we talked about it last week.
Yeah, we chatted about it on the show.
Yeah, about it. Yep.
DJI replied on that.
It was like, stop complaining.
Yeah, stop putting us on blast, little crybaby. But yeah. Fun times.
So what are you working on, Chuck?
So I'm doing some warm-ups on this one. I like this guy. So I'm gonna do, he's got like these like funnel rockets. I'm gonna model this real quick. And then I'll probably UV and texture and stuff like that. Just trying to find some inspiration for whatever this scene I want to make the next couple shows.
So when you
the main thing I'm big go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's hopefully going to lead into what you're talking about.
Yeah.
When you're looking for inspiration things, do you just go onto Pinterest and say, For example, would I go onto Pinterest and do a search for anything magical and pink?
You could. I've grown over the last couple of years to use Pinterest like you would use Google. Like I used to use Google.
Yeah.
When I was looking for stuff. But a lot of times I'm looking for something that either an object or something that triggers something like, oh, that's cool, and I can build onto that so that I can learn something new from it. Right.
Yeah.
Like this thing could like lead me into like learning about, pyro effects or something for how do you make these rockets move, to try to make some kind of scene off of that or something, So you got the modeling, you got the texturing, you got the effect stuff. I'm always more process oriented into learning something new that I can add later on, either use at work or add to the old reel and try to make it different. I'm trying to, even with my personal work, I'm trying to do stuff that's more drastically different than what I do at work. And the stuff I do at work, I'm trying to, since I'm in the position of tasking myself out, I task stuff that either people that don't know how to do or something new that I want to do. So it's been a lot of the compositing this year. It's been a lot of the effects last year and the weird, programs like Notch and stuff like that are more like particle effects and all that good stuff. Because you got pushing yourself into doing stuff you want to do rather than, stuff that comes easy, like building an environment or some of the game res stuff. I've been leaning more on the motion side and visual effects stuff for the stuff we get at work. And luckily lately we've been getting more projects that helps feed that, more animation stuff and stuff like that, more higher res modeling stuff, and rendering with third-party software like Redshift and stuff like that. So that's what I'm looking for. So it should be good. But especially with all these other things like Blender and all these other stuff, they're just making stuff look more nice. It works out even better. So Jack, can you talk about your freelance thing you're doing? Is it a portrait? Is it a thing or?
Yeah, so I've worked with these guys for maybe 2 years now, on and off. They are a food tour company in somewhere in New York. I forget the actual town, but in New York. And they do food tours that are sort of also like combination mystery solving kind of games. So the players have like a puzzle they're supposed to solve, and then obviously if they defeat it, they probably get discounts or move on, learn some other secret about the food. So the very first one we did was it was like a desserts and cupcake tour around their town. So they randomly found me on Instagram and reached out to me because they really liked the mobster characters that I was doing, and they wanted to do this kind of murder mystery or this like kind of mystery themed food tour. Right. So they wanted me to design some characters that they could write these stories about and have their patrons, so basically they get like this packet of stuff, right? It's like a packet of graphics with like some stories and some little literature, like descriptions, and then they get these quote unquote photos of these characters. And then from that, based on what happens on the tour, and then also of the information they have in their little packet, they're supposed to be able to solve these mysteries. So the first one was this cupcake thing, and all the characters were, even though they were mobsters, they were supposed to be like kind of cupcake or dessertish themed. So I created this like menacing baker that was like, killing people with like stale loaves of bread and stuff. So it's like like absurd humor, but like, kind of still feeling mobster and, mystery-ish.
Yeah.
And then they had one that was based around kind of like Mexican food or like these hot chili wars. So there's some guy that was murdering people by making food, or no, it was the Battle of Fire and Ice. So there was kind of this hot chili guy, and then there was the Iceman. So the latest iteration, so they basically write these stories, and they write these various mysteries. So this is the fourth iteration. So they're on their fourth storyline, and they've contacted me to do some more characters so that they can write the storyline. So this is just one of the first characters they want. They're going to base it around this kind of aloof creepy accountant character. So I can't give away any more than that. Otherwise, I kind of start to give away some of their storyline. But yeah. So basically, how it works is we've agreed on a price per character, and then part of my deal with them was like, hey, you reached out to me for my style, and they obviously admit that they love my work, this and that. So they've sort of given me, in a way, free reign to do the characters. There's not really like a notes phase or anything. They give me the character description up front and like the minimum requirements that it needs to meet, like what objects or symbols or features need to be featured in the image of the character, and then kind of a description of what they want it to look like. And then other than that, I just kind of go with whatever I find that I like. There's only been, I think, one time I think I've done just shy of 20 characters for them.
Okay.
And there's only been one time where they were like, hey, this design is a little too similar to one of the other characters you did for us, and we don't want people to get confused and this and that. And, even though I sort of had this agreement that I wasn't really doing major revisions, I totally agreed with them. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty much just the same character, just slightly redrawn. So my mistake. I'll redo this one.
It was a good
but yeah, for the most part, it's been really nice.
That's cool. Where is this based?
They're in New York. I forget the name of the town. You can look them up. So the company's called Food Done It, like Who Done It, but with food. So they've got a pretty strong social media presence. I believe they were talking about expanding into another fairly nearby city. So they're doing well. People seem to be like into this thing. So it's like a unique niche that they have, and it's a fun gig. I mean, I get to just draw characters that I'd probably be drawing anyway, but get paid for it. So
I like
it's a cool little thing.
Yeah. I like it.
I don't really have any like crazy horror client stories with them. They've been totally pleasurable, and obviously since they've agreed to let me draw some stuff on live, I wouldn't talk crap about them anyway.
Right. That was crazy.
And there really is nothing to really. They're great. They really are great. But it's kind of funny that
we got a call in from New York. They've been watching. And
they want us to shut down the show immediately.
How cool is that, though, that you're just posting on Instagram and they're like, yo, we really like your stuff.
Yeah, it's actually happened to me a couple of times.
And we're not even going to steal it.
Yeah, well, that's happened to me a couple of times too. So I guess I've got both ends of the spectrum. But yeah, it's actually happened to me a couple of times. People just kind of reach out and they're like, "We really like this work. Can we?" I've had a moving company wanted to have portraits done of their staff so that they can hang them in the office.
That's fine.
And for some whatever reason, they wanted them done in like mobster caricature style because the company was called the Cosa Nostra crew, which had this kind of mobster feel.
Yeah.
So I did like, I think 12 people. Most of them were like a family. It was like a family-owned business. And then this one is also kind of mobster related. But I've had stuff that's not mobster related. Like I've talked about this on the show before, and Carlos is like a huge proponent of this, and we've talked about it on the show. Like if you want a certain type of job and you're not getting it, but you want to have it in your portfolio, then just do a mock-up piece. Do a fake one. Do what you envision it to be like. And if you don't get a job off of it, fine. But at least you have like some fun and experience. So I always thought it would be cool to have done some wine labels. Mm-hmm. So I just made these fake wine labels, and I invented a fake brand, and I invented a fake vintage, and got some stock photos of some wine labels and photoshopped my labels on there, and they looked super legit, like actual products. And before I knew it, I mean, I don't know how long it took, but I would say probably less than 6 months. A couple of companies actually contacted me, but the one I ultimately ended up doing work for they literally just found me because they were probably browsing Instagram or Pinterest or who knows what it was, and came across my bottles and were like, "Oh yeah, can you do these bottles?" And I did. They're Canadian company. I did 4 or 5 for them.
Nice.
So yeah, if you guys want to do something but you don't have the experience, give yourself the experience.
That's kind of like the same notion I took when doing the taking the compositing classes like I took last year or a year and a half, year before last, because we and just kind of wanted to get that experience. So that's it. I'm the type of artist that like I like online classes. I like classes in general, you know. I do a lot of self learning too, but at the same time, there's something about being in a class I kind of like too. Forces you to learn a little more motivation at times. But that turned into learning it at home, which turned into segueing and having more confidence to talk about it at work. And then we ended up doing that Nissan commercial at work off of a AR project that we did last year. And they asked us, "Can you do this 3D work and some compositing, color correcting work for this commercial that we're shooting about this app?" And we're like, "Yeah, we can do it." So that kind of worked.
Joey Wall said, "That's cool, Jack. No one has hit me up for my creepy old gluer yet."
Just you wait.
It's coming.
I actually think that guy's really cool. I feel like it could be. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like an intro to like a film company, like the bumpers that they have before film.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like what's the one where the like guy is like walking down a hallway and it's like super scribbly like that, and then he like starts moving his jacket and turns into a crow and flies away.
Yeah.
I always loved that one. What company is that? That's kind of what it reminds me of. I feel like it could totally be like some creepy film company's logo.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's Scott Free. Yeah, it's Ridley Scott's company, Scott Free.
But I think that's an important lesson. And I always, when people ask me, I always tell them, look, not only work on the stuff that you want to work on, but if you're going to work on a shady project and people are going to say, yeah, do this for me, I don't have any money, do it for the exposure, that's not a good excuse anymore. Instagram is a really good exposure. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all of those things, like that exposure is no longer
a bargaining chip.
Leverage. It's no longer leverage. So and the cool thing about doing projects, like your own projects that you assign yourself, is that your client is probably going to be one of the coolest people you ever work for.
This is true. Their needs are oddly in line with yours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it'll actually give you, like, if you work on your own stuff, it'll give you even more not exposure, but even more experience being an art director, because then you develop your own style and vision by doing those things, and you're comfortable. Defending is probably a strong word, but defending your points of view. And the really cool thing about Instagram and all these social networks, if there is such a thing as a good thing, the response is immediate, whether or not you want it. So if you do something like a creepy gluer guy and you post it and you get 3 likes, you know that the public isn't really receiving your vision. So either you do one of 2 things. Either you adjust your vision, or you just keep at it until people actually realize that your vision is worth more.
Yeah, I mean that's a complicated one, because obviously there's the whole idea of getting noticed on that massive flooded internet that's out there. But
right.
But in using the same terminology, that is still the same of people are not receiving your vision, but it means it more literally rather than figuratively.
Yeah.
Receive this vision, my child. Receive vision. Imagine exercise the demons.
I know what to do.
Oh, that's why.
So anyway, since we're talking all about process and stuff, I should explain
yourself.
I mean, it goes without saying to some folks in the chat room, but I'll go through it anyway. So I normally start with a bunch of thumbnails, especially for this whole this client and this whole project. Like, it's very fluid, and it's kind of just whatever comes out is what's taken and accepted, because they actually, from what I understand, is they have a general premise of their story, but they write most of the details after they get my drawings so that they can feed in, the specifics. So it's very fluid and kind of just off the cuff. So I don't often have like a super strong vision of what's going to happen, other than there's been a few cases where I'm like, oh, I really want to draw that shape or that style of character, whatever. But for the majority of them, I'm kind of just like, oh, okay, an aloof accountant, but he still needs to seem like kind of a badass. So just trying different shapes, different profiles. They did mention that they liked what I was doing with exaggerated features, so they wanted to do a little bit more of that this round. So I'm adding in this bizarre, like, pointy nose. So I was like, oh, I like the whole pointy nose thing, and maybe some like whippy hair that kind of mirrors that same shape. So I sort of knew that, but other than that, I was just trying different poses, different shapes, kind of going through them, which one stuck. And strangely enough, in this case, or maybe not strangely, actually the first thumbnail that I did was the one I liked the most. I find that that's actually sometimes often the case, like with first gut thing that just comes out. And obviously it needs refining, and some, like, I tilted it and I changed the collar and I changed his chest pose. So there was things that changed, but I liked the general concept of the first one. So then I just blew it up and refined the sketch a little bit, and now I'm on inking.
Nice. How many do you have to do for this round? It's the one guy.
I usually do 5. They haven't actually said yet. They said, let's start with this main character, and then we'll get you a list of the other ones. So it'll probably be 5 again, but could be give or take 1. And it's crazy, like, I don't know about you guys with freelance. Shiloh probably can speak to this, and other folks that have done a lot of freelance. Like, most of my freelance clients I never meet at all. Like, in fact, most of them I never even talk with on the phone, and I never do like a FaceTime. It's just an email agreement. We sign some sort of NDA or like a contract or whatever their preference is. And then, deposits in the bank, and then I go to work, and then I email it back, and that's the end of it. It's like, it's kind of weird.
Cool. Do you do that on purpose, or it just comes out that way?
No, it just kind of comes out that way. I mean, there certainly have been clients that I talk with that I've done Skype or FaceTime sessions with. But I would actually say that that's the exception to the rule. For the majority of them, I never actually speak with. It's all just via email.
How's it coming over to Carlos?
Well, Noel just reminded me that the reason why I'm doing this drawing was because I put her on timeout.
Are you serious?
Oh, you owe it.
I forgot about
You
that.
owe it.
I had forgot about that too. That was yeah.
So wait, you just had this Post-it on your desk and you didn't even remember why?
No, I know exactly why. But like I was rearranging my office and the Post-it was, I have a table off to the side. So like I have my podcast and drawing and work station over here. And then over there is a table. And I know that you guys can't see it, but whatever. And I have a table over there where it's kind of like if I need to cut mat board or if I need to do anything traditionally, it's over there on the table.
It's your
off to the
utility table.
Yeah. And so I had the Post-it note over there at that table, and I have a bunch of my photography equipment out. So so when we were talking about doing stuff, I was like, where's that Post-it note? So yeah, that's what happens. I put her on timeout and then I felt bad.
As you should.
See, he has feelings. He can feel.
Yeah. I'm a softie.
Let's see here. There's something else that happened this week. I can't remember what.
Yeah, I remember I had a few things I was going to bring up, but I can't remember what they are.
Oh, well, that works.
So anyway, after this,
yeah,
I'm gonna probably post on Instagram to get some more feedback too. But I've had two fairly major projects I've been kicking around that I can't really decide which to do first. Two things I've never actually done and I've kind of always wanted to do. I wanted to do a graphic novel. That's kind of a hybrid because I do a lot of writing, so it would probably be much more heavy in text than a standard graphic novel. But obviously, this is an art show, so I'd be doing major illustrations or kind of, doing. I mean, it still would be a graphic novel. It just would probably have some large blocks of text as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have what I think is kind of a fun, cool concept for an ongoing graphic novel series or short story graphic novels. So I'd probably do like the first one of those, which I'm sure would take a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've always wanted to have a board game or / card game printed.
You mentioned that before. Like the traditional like family board game one, or like Clue or something like that, or.
Yeah, I have a concept for one that would be a little bit of a hybrid, but obviously I love my mobsters, so it's a mystery themed. So I have this concept for one that would be probably a decent sized design deck of cards, and then probably some additional like out in the table, not a board per se, but probably some out on the table type of in-game.
Yeah.
I guess cards or pieces. I haven't fully fledged out exactly how I do that, so probably part of that would be what I would come up with on the show. But both are definitely in the phase of I have a strong enough fleshed out enough idea that I could probably start producing one, but I can't really decide which one I would do first. So I don't know if anyone had a preference, what they'd like to see, or if they just don't give a shit, and I'll just pick one randomly.
Like, just draw and talk.
Yeah, just shut up and draw, dude. We don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you guys? What's your
I like the graphic novel idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that this idea for this story has been tumbling around in my head for years. And like I've gone back and forth. I'm like, well, I could develop it as like a feature pitch, or I could do it as like some animated shorts. And then actually it was just fairly recently, maybe like 2 weeks ago, roughly the time this whole concept of Sketch Zone 2.0 was sort of bubbling, that I was like, oh, I could do it as a graphic novel. That actually would work really well. And I don't know if you guys do writing or do like story creation or world creation, but sometimes you come up with these concepts and it sounds cool and well and good, but you can't really quite figure out how to fully formulate it. And then all of a sudden something comes into your head or your world or your environment that's like changes the concept a little bit. Like I had never thought about doing it as a graphic novel, and then I don't know what's spawned it, really, honestly. It just was like, oh, well, what about like a comic graphic novel? And then all of a sudden everything about the story and the writing just like clicked into place, and it's like, oh yeah, that fixes all of these problems and this would work so well. So it's like, I know that's probably the best medium for this.
Yeah. And technically, with all the other ways you thought about bringing it to life, if it ever was something else, all the best films or things are based off of books. Anyway,
so Joey said, whenever I get a pack of cards or whatever in a Kickstarter graphic novel, etc., I go, that's cool. Then put it in a drawer and never look at them again.
Okay. So he's being real.
Yeah. That's,
that is true though.
That's the fear of putting something out in the world is, hey, they got you already. They got your money.
They don't care.
Right. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of throw this out there too. It might be cool to. Well, no, that might be too much. I'm gonna reel that one back in. We're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah. Well, now I'm curious.
Yeah.
No, what I was gonna say, like, if there was people that wanted that have an idea that want to come and talk about it, we can maybe help flesh that out. So let's just say, like, maybe one day Joey says, hey, I have an idea for this specific project and I just need to bounce ideas off of. Maybe we can have Joey come on and then we'll help him work through that. You know what I mean?
We need an ironclad contract.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, that's
right.
Yeah.
When I started talking that, I was like, ooh, I might have to shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a cool idea, though. I mean, I think that's.
And then Noel says, "I used to write kids' books. You can write?
Hate. You're gonna be drawing for her for a long time."
Right. All right. What's the next one? Pink magical thing is done. What's next? But no, yeah, I was just, again, like, we're always trying to figure out how to work with the community and be accessible to a certain point. And it would be, like it'd be cool to be able to hang out with someone and help them work out an idea.
Yeah, that like back and forth brainstorm phase is really fun, especially when you click with somebody and it really starts to roll. It's crazy how you always hear this thing about like how writers are like, well, it kind of just writes itself, and it sounds like sounds like one of the most annoying things ever said, but like, it's actually true. You hit this weird like threshold, and then stuff just kind of fits into place, and once your brain like understands this is like a real location or a real character or something, it's like it's just kind of natural. It's like natural. Well, of course this character would do that, or then this would happen, and then it just snowballs all these crazy ideas, and that's only amplified when you have other folks to do it with.
One thing that we'll have to see if this will work, but maybe we can get the videos that we did for process projects and post them to the Sketch Zone page too. So you guys can see kind of what he's talking about, because that's one of the cool things about that project that Jack and I were working on was that brainstorming period, and it was just really cool. It was a really cool experience for me to just be there. And did you not see my English grade? Okay, yeah, I'll leave that joke right there.
Here we go.
But no, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun just sitting there brainstorming and trying to come up with, literally from nothing, all of a sudden we have characters and worlds and the parents and the not parents and the jungle gyms and all kinds of stuff. And it was a good time. It was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you that didn't check that out or went away before you got involved, the whole premise behind that was sort of what we're pitching right now, but in a longer form and a more concentrated environment, that we were just going to come up with a project and do it from beginning to end and reveal every single step, every thought we have, every email we exchange with a vendor, every fight we have, whatever it is, just to sort of show the process of getting this project done. And the first one we chose was a children's book. And so the first episode was literally us having no concepts at all. That was part of it, was we didn't want to do any like pre-talking and spoil the pot. So we were just like sat down and we're like, all right, well, what do you like to talk about? What do you like to draw? What do you want to write about? It's like kind of awkward first 15 minutes. And then like suddenly we agreed on, a generalized thing. Well, we like drawing monsters or characters. And then it just kind of all of a sudden started evolving. And before you knew it, like we had this, like Carlos said, we had full on characters with backstories and where it was going to go. And pretty cool.
Joey says, I noticed a few artists making Reddit communities for this kind of feedback and group thing now. Jason Brubaker and Esther Brack both announced one this week. Oh, cool. Yeah, like it's cool. I like how the art community is actually that. People are stepping out of their comfort zone to build communities and helping get things done.
Generally very willing to pitch in and help folks, at least with advice. I won't say they're necessarily as generous with producing or giving their time and creating it, but people love to talk. They love to talk about what they know. And for the most part, the community is pretty generous with that.
And that's the important thing about Sketch Zone. We like to talk about the things that we don't know either. Yeah,
this is true.
See them. Oh, Landon said maybe start a Sketch Zone Reddit. That would be helpful.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not on Reddit a lot. Yeah,
I've never really understood Reddit.
Yeah,
I want to be on Reddit more, but I haven't.
And that's not a reason to not do it. Like we were just talking about it.
Yeah.
We like to think of things we don't know. I was on it like for a brief period, and I was trying to use it to like up my social media game, but I never really understood the rules, the unwritten community rules.
Yeah, I've tried, but
the Reddit.
The Reddit. Stupid.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It says it on there.
Oh.
Translate. Oh, my bad.
There's like a whole page when you first join. It's like read the Reddit page.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just never got it. But
it's really called Reddit?
Oh yeah, they're like short term for it. So in other news, I can't stay too late tonight because I have a big day tomorrow. I know you guys know, but the community doesn't. I'm officially now a director at DreamWorks.
What?
So I've been directing some episodes, and tomorrow is one of my first pitches. So
wow. Congrats.
It's going to be a big day.
What goes into that pitch?
Well, so traditionally, the very first pitch of an episode is.
Are you still on? What's that pony show?
Spirit. Yes, I am actually.
Okay.
So I am directing for Spirit. So traditionally what goes into the first rough pitch is it's basically the first time that the written word from the script is now being translated into the visual format, which I was actually just talking about this today with one of the artists. That's like it's a tricky part in the process. It's probably the most susceptible to WTF moments, because everybody has this vision in their head. I mean, particularly the writers and the execs, they've been reading the scripts, and obviously they have the previous backlog of episodes and everything we've produced thus far to reference upon. But in terms of the story that we're working on this episode, it's like this is the first time that they will see it in a visual format, and this is the same concept that the fandom world runs into in general, right? It's like, say you read 100 million people read Harry Potter, and they all have their own version of the movie in their head, and then the movie comes out, and well, of course, it's not at all what you expected because everybody had their own version of it. So the rough pitch is basically the first time that we're translating the script. So this is kind of a fun time because it's the first time we get to see it in motion, but it's also, like I said, the most susceptible for people being like, that's not how I envisioned that, or that's not working, or this doesn't make, and even, it sometimes isn't the storyboard artist's fault. It's exposing an issue with the writing or the story. It's a time in the process that's very, lets everybody poke holes in it. So, traditionally, the way it's done, this is the point when it's probably just boards pinned, the ones you always saw in the making of Disney or whatever. It's board drawings pinned to a pin board with somebody with a pointer doing little voices saying, and then this happens, and I don't want, but obviously in television, it's a lot more faster paced, and technology has helped us get a little past that. So Storyboard Pro allows you to drop in audio pretty quick. And so we don't really do acting pitches anymore, so I don't need to like sit up there and pretend to be a 13-year-old girl, but but it is the first time that it's kind of roughly put together. And then we'll get all of our notes, and obviously we got to start refining timing and posing and all that good old stuff that goes into filmmaking and animation.
Cool.
That's exciting.
So tomorrow's your first official day. So what was your?
No, I mean I've been
Yeah.
doing, but tomorrow will be the first point at which, you know, people other than me and my immediate team view the work. So the writer, you know, the writer who wrote the script will see it, and some other folks. So it's sort of the first point that it's open to real scrutiny, where we'll get a whole pages and pages of notes to address.
How many people are in this meeting normally?
I mean, it's different from studio to studio, and how many executives and how many people you have involved, and how control freakish your production crew is. Some people are like super insular, and, you know, they don't want a lot of outside input and all that stuff. And other teams are very open, and they totally want everybody to be included. It's usually like 12 folks. You know, it's the artists involved, which is 3 to 4 people, and then your executive producer or your showrunner or both, and then a couple of production folks, writers. The rough pitch is kind of generally internal, so we don't have a lot of external input. But then as we move on, then you start inviting people like executives and, you know, higher level people that have their input, and so that's a whole nother level of things to deal with.
How is it with, are the executives a little bit of a different bag at this place than other places, and just in general with animation, or for both either show, TV shows like what you do now, or what I'm looking for, movies? Where do you have that barrier of a creative versus an executive, or are all the executives kind of open-minded and creative because they've been doing this? You know, is there like a barrier in terms of like, you know, explaining how something is, or nuances? Because that seems interesting that there's executives and creatives, they're both giving their input and feedback. You know, it seems like that would bump heads a bit.
Yeah, it's super dependent on the specific executive. You know, some of them come up from animation, and they were either
good.
ex-directors or ex, you know, whoever's that just kind of got tired of the pressure of being creative all the time, and they got more into the management and studio level side. And those folks, you know, tend to get it. They get all of the nuances. You don't need to explain much. They're fine looking at something that's more rough because they know where it's going to go, or just, you know, they've been doing this long enough that they get it. They get all the various phases and steps that have to come in. But then there's other folks that have like zero experience in animation. They come from film background. They either have film training, or some of them come from like rando like business backgrounds, or you know, just something more clerical, executive related. And then some of them just have no experience at all. They started as assistants to executives, and then the natural next step was for them to become an executive. So it's like they technically don't have any experience in the field at all, other than just being an executive, you know. But even then, you know, from each different discipline, you get very different results. I mean, some people are just more understanding, and they just get that there's like 17 more steps that have to happen, and what they're viewing is only one part of it, and we should only be judging, say, timing, or at this point we should only be talking about music. Don't give me lighting notes or anything like that. But then there's others that will just say whatever the hell they feel. Like, I don't like this acting, and it's like, we're not talking about acting. It's like, well, put it down anyway. I want to be heard that I don't like, you know. It's like it's kind of all over the place, honestly. But that's the role. I mean, that's the role of your executive producer or your showrunner, to sort of rein that in. I mean, they're the vision of the insular internal show. So, but one of their main jobs is to deal with the larger level executive that has the studio brand to portray and, you know, ensure is consistent. So that's sort of like managing internal creative desires with, and I say internal and external, it's all internal, it's all within the company, but
right.
Internal meaning the folks on the show itself, and then external being higher studio level people.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's very interesting. I always wondered that, how that juggling act happens.
Yeah, I mean, and then in a more practical sense, as an artist or a director or any person on the creative side, it just becomes a matter of balancing and priorities. Like, you have to be really good at kind of reading what the priorities are. Is that random note from that guy that was like, we don't like the way that green pops. It's like, is that really that important, or is it totally valid and I should address that immediately? Because at the end of the day, it's like, we could always use more time. We could always refine this again and again and again and again. So it just becomes a matter of how much of this can we do in the time and budget given. So it becomes like a balancing kind of prioritizing act. But that's the same in your industry. I mean,
right.
that's the creative field in general. Like, you get notes and a time and a budget, and then you just have to either figure out creative ways to get to that goal in the time given, or you got to prioritize and learn to kind of let some of it go.
Yeah, that part about my job I'm pretty thankful for, because if I'm totally honest, I didn't have that what's the word I'm looking for, perspective before Next Now. I did, but being an artist with your headphones on is different than being an artist that has to troubleshoot and deal with those problems and talk to people, right?
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's really easy when because I was there, and I remember being that guy that was like kind of cynical and complaining about, why is everybody so stupid, and why these notes are so dumb, and they don't get it. And it's easy to say that from that level. Yeah. But it's like, if you're a little bit more global level, or even just managing a couple of people, and you have to have a bigger picture view.
Yeah.
You start to realize like how many people there are to please, and how many various goals we're trying to hit. Like, it's a lot bigger than a single artist.
Yeah. I actually get, if I'm being honest, I actually get annoyed when I hear it now, because I'm like, I always turn the conversation to like, how can you make it look amazing? Because that's the only thing you really got to worry about. And right now, it don't look amazing yet. So all the other stuff, let me worry about it. Clients are going to be clients, because they didn't. Like, I was doing something today or yesterday. We had a conversation, and how like, and I'll use a different example, but like, it'll be the same thing. How as artists that work on computers, you understand them, pretty well, because you're around them all the time. You have a certain experience with them, whereas your grandmother doesn't, right? So they approach it differently and then ask questions. And you can't be like, and in your head, you're like, it's easy. You just go over to the side of the computer, press the power button, check to see if it's plugged into the power supply in the back. Easy. Come on, grandma, turn the computer on. Let's go. But I think that attitude is what a lot of artists have with client revisions. Did they really say they wanted it to be blue now? Why would they want it to be blue? Like, don't you know that throws off all the color theory? No, they don't know that. So fucking make it blue. like just do it. Like, just make it, because, or like a lot of times with VR and AR experiences, like, you have to hold the hand of the viewer, right? Because you're blowing their mind as they're in it, and they're like sheep. You have to take them on a journey, and a lot of times artists will forget that, like, you understand UI, you understand games, because if you played games, or you understand, the notion of playing a game, right? Like Cards Against Humanity, and there's directions on how to do things. Some people don't understand the idea of like all right, I have this headset on and I have this controller in my hand with a button that has a pointer. Maybe I should point it at that shiny thing and so that I can figure out what to do next. Sometimes you need a little bit of voiceover, or you need a shiny arrow saying, hit this. And like some artists are like, well, I don't want to put that in there, or I don't want to do it. They should just understand it. I'm like, well, everybody's perspective is different. And the more and more I do this after a while, I understand why you have to make it like, I don't want to call it, dummy proof, but more so that like everybody's experiences are a little bit different. So you have to like take that person on a journey. And you can't just be like, they'll figure it out because it's art and it's amazing. And everybody knows about VR,
Yeah. Because we work in this industry, so we're very well versed at the language that is often used and the shorthands, that the technology utilizes, or even the art, references. And it's like, you have to remember, you're not always making this just for other artists or other people that work in the industry. Oftentimes you're making this product for a consumer that knows nothing about it. I mean, just go anywhere on any YouTube comment and see what the consumers think the process is. Like, well, I know that was CGI because, he's got lizard eyes. And it's like, they don't, they have no idea what they're talking about. So it's easy to forget that they're not surrounded by it all day, every day. They don't get the same language and shorthand. And like you said, like an intuitive VR user gets the standard way that things work, but like somebody who's never done this before, or maybe used it a couple of times, like they don't know.
Yeah, some dude at a trade show that's looking that does plumbing for a living, that looking at your plumbing AR thing you did for whatever company, doesn't know what that means. Make it simple so they can understand it, which is the work of a good artist too. I just said that the other day. That's so funny. And I think that's what anything. I think we always talk about some of the best designs, no, just work, right? Like without being said, but at the same time, it's because they've thought of everything else. This leads to this, this color leads to this, and it's like people just get it. So I love seeing, like, even in my field, immersive technologies where people just kind of get it. Like one of the ones was like from that. Remember the movie Big?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have the big huge keyboard. So I was looking, I was watching this experience that another company that I follow does that. Basically, it was the same premise, but it was like a iridescent like floor that, like, when you came into the section, like you didn't know it was going to be activated, right? And then all of a sudden something changes. Either music or something, lights change or something, and the next step you took, it lit up, and it instantly made a tone. And instantly, people got it, and there's all these like hidden cameras and to see what people would do, when they realize what happened. So there's guys like breakdancing. There was guys like doing dances that like. And there's other guys that are finding the tones and doing simple, musical notes and stuff like that. And people were like interacting with it and having a cool experience. But like, I love those. They didn't have to say anything. There was no real words anywhere, and it was basically they were doing it for the case study. Like in my field, you do everything to make a case study, make some kind of video, and then tell people how this helped this brand, how it was so immersive and thought provoking and blah blah blah, and like what else the words I'm using? Sophisticated by design and all this other crazy thing that some agency will put together afterwards, But like, it was interesting. It's always cool, and that's one of the cool parts about experiential stuff is when it becomes totally artsy, but it's nice.
So yeah, unfortunately, I have to take off. But if you guys are jamming, you should keep going.
What about down here?
We can wrap it up. What time is it? We've been here for a couple hours.
Yeah,
we can wrap it up. I just save. And
and we can pick it up next time.
Pick it up where we left off. It's funny. Whenever you get into a shape, even if you think it's going to be easy, there's all these hidden lines that you have to figure out how it works. And I think if I squint at this, I almost have it. So then you usually, if I'm doing it, if I was art directing myself, I say, Charlie, you were getting too minute with the details. And next time, block it out more, block everything else out more. But I'm not at work, so I don't have to do that. But and that's cheating, right? Yeah, that's cheating. I'll block it out more next week. And get all the other shapes in, and then through another program like ZBrush or whatever, we'll start doing all the like cutting into it, Boolean stuff to make all that machine stuff you see here come to life. You get that in there, and then we'll take it into Substance, and then I'll figure out how to make it move. Ooh, animation. Sounds scary. Cool. Yeah. So got a good block out going. Shape.
Nice.
I think the middle one's too fat though. It's bothering me. This thing is bothering me. I don't think I nailed the shape.
I'm liking your unicorn, Carlos. That's, not your usual style. See?
No,
the colors and look has gotten you out of your box.
I have to. Hey, Alonzo. Yeah, we're here every Thursday. Alonzo Soriano. I don't know if he wants me to say his name.
Word up
too late.
Sebastopol.
Sebastopol. Oh, that's right down the street, dude. I live in Sonoma.
Yeah. Zoom out, Carlos. I can see.
Oh, sorry.
So
what I was gonna say is I have to do it. I have to do it in a different style, so Noel doesn't make fun of me.
Well, she's gonna make fun of you regardless. So
very good. Very good.
Body. It's like very pudgy. Like you're supposed to hug it.
There's a trapeze school in Sonoma.
Interesting.
I haven't gotten past the wine school yet.
Nice.
School of wine. Cool. Yeah. So we're here every Thursday. We start 9:00 California time, and basically we create stuff and draw at the same time. And we have, if you look at the library of videos that we have there, we have creative professionals that come and talk and share their stories and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But we're about to wrap this one up. So you have a week to watch all 160 other episodes.
Get it going.
And Noel is a bad influence, so be careful with that one. And so let's go ahead and wrap this guy up, and then Jack can go get some rest before his day. So Charlie, if people are looking for you online, where can they find you?
Find me a couple different spots. Go to instagram.com/CharlieBW3. I have my personal website, cargocollective.com/CharlieBWilliams, artstation.com/CharlieBW3, Almighty Pinterest if you want to peer into all my different references and different things I have on there. You might find something that inspires you to do something. Check it out, Pinterest.com/CharlieBW3.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. How about you, Jack?
I'm at sketchbookjack.com, but mainly on sketchbookjack on Instagram.
Excellent. Thank you both. And thank everyone in the chat room. Our new art friend, Alonzo.
Welcome.
Hello, Noel. Oh no, that's that Noel. Just kidding. Thanks to Noel, to Landon, to Shiloh.
Yeah.
Joey was here. We legit have people all over the planet watching us live. And like I said before, we're here live we try to be here every Thursday night at 9 p.m. California time. Oh, by the way, Carlos, coconutjustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else.
Yeah.
So you can go to sketch.zone, and then you'll see that we have tons of content there, tons of videos. And if you want to come and hang out with us and listen to us as we create and we chat it up about industry related topics, we are here. Otherwise, you can catch us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and of course, iTunes. And if you're out there on the social medias, you can find us on Instagram. And Sword Sister is here. Hello.
That's an awesome name.
Sword Sister.
Wow. Don't do that.
That's her theme song. You just don't know that yet.
Okay. Cool.
She doesn't know that yet either. But so yeah, so if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. And then if you want, hit that little bell, and that little bell will let you know when we do come on. And we've been flirting with maybe sneaking in some other episodes. Not sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you get that little bell, that will let you know that we're on. And obviously, we like to talk to anyone who likes to make art stuff. And if you're on Twitch, because we're streaming on Twitch too, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down there too. I think that is it. Not yet. Nope. Instagram.com/Sketch Zone Podcast. And this week, the fun prompt is cult leader. So if you draw a cult leader, post it on Instagram and tag us. And in the beginning of the show, we like to show what everyone drew. So no pressure, Sword Sister, no pressure, Alonzo, but literally everyone in the chat right now has done artwork. Just kidding.
Look at him.
Just
look at him. Don't listen to him.
Yeah, look at that, Landon. Landon's been here for a while too. So yeah, so go through and tag us on Instagram, so then that way we can share it, and your work will be seen on Instagram along with everyone else's. And then we like to take a look at everyone else. Iggy Doodles, what's up, boy? Yeah, baby. So yeah, go ahead and tag us on Instagram. We'll share it, and we show it in the beginning of the show, every show. And yeah, holla at ya, boys. That's how we do. All right, that's enough of my rambling. You guys, thank you so much for joining in. Noel, I'm gonna finish this and then send it on over to you. And yeah, that's it for us, y'all. Have a good week.
See you guys.
Have a good night.
Nice wave, Jack. Sword Sister, you have plenty of time. We'll be here next week. Go ahead and watch all the episodes. And
hell of homework assignment.
Yeah.
We'll be here.
Subscribe. It's important for you guys to subscribe on YouTube. All right, that's it. Talk to you guys later.
See you guys.
Good night.
Bye-bye.